Good morning, everybody. Please be seated. On behalf of the University of Strathclyde, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to you to this congregation for the conferment of degrees here in the Barony Hall. Today is a very special day in the university calendar. It's a graduation day, which makes it a day of celebration for our graduates, for the family and friends, and indeed for all of the staff of the university. And I can't think of a better venue in which to start that celebration than here in the Barony. In the United States, they refer to these events as commencement ceremonies, as they use them to signify the beginning of a new journey, as opposed to an ending. And it is in this spirit that we also celebrate graduations at the University of Strathclyde. Now, in a few moments, it will be my privilege to cap each of our graduates as their name is called out and they come up on stage to receive their award. The capping tradition has its roots in ancient China, and it's recognised as a rite of passage and as a mark of achievement. And for each of our graduates once capped, this signifies that they are now part of a community of scholars at the University of Strathclyde that can stretch back over 200 years to the Scottish Enlightenment, so they'll be in very good company. At the start of this morning's ceremony, we have the conferment of an honorary degree to Dame Susan Bruce. These are awards which are made by the university to recognise the particular contribution and achievements of an individual during their career, and we'll hear more of these contributions shortly. At the close of graduation, we have a reception in a nearby Lord Todd building to which everyone is invited to come along and to celebrate. We hope to have an academic procession from the Barony over to the Lord Todd. This will very much depend upon the weather, and we'll get an update on that towards the end of this morning's proceedings. In the meantime, I do hope that you enjoy the ceremony, and when you see your loved ones come on stage to receive his or her award, I would strongly encourage you to celebrate. These occasions do not come round very often, and for most they're once in a lifetime, so please make the most of it. I now formally declare that this congregation for the conferment of degrees is open, and I invite Dr. Vina Halloran to present our honorary graduate to receive her award. Thank you.
Vice Principal, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honour to present a candidate for an honorary degree, Dame Sue Bruce. Dame Sue is an inspirational leader who has devoted her whole career to public service, and in particular to improving the life chances of young people. She is tenacious, determined, dedicated, hugely hardworking, and totally committed to social justice, equality, and diversity. As a former chief executive of 3 Scottish local authorities, Dame Sue has enjoyed a long and successful career in local government, making an exceptional contribution to society. Following the completion of her diploma in Youth and Community Studies at Jordanhill College of Education, which later became part of the University of Strathclyde, Dame Sue embarked on a job creation project at Strathclyde Regional Council, which was the start of a career path promoting economic prosperity alongside social cohesion. Dame Sue's rapid rise led to even more senior posts in East Ayrshire and East Dunbartonshire councils. During this time, she also graduated with a Master's in Philosophy degree in Politics and Government and a Bachelor of Laws degrees, both here at the University of Strathclyde. From 2004, Dame Sue held 3 successive chief executive posts in Scotland's local government. Firstly, she was promoted to the role of Chief Executive of East Dunbartonshire Council before, in 2008, taking over as Chief Executive of Aberdeen City Council, probably one of the most challenging jobs at the time. At Aberdeen, years of overspending had created what was called at the time a financial black hole within the council. The local government watchdog despaired that the council, and I quote, did not have the capacity to change, unquote. With Dame Sue's appointment, however, change happened. She led a complete review of structure and governance of the council, making tough decisions, all taken with care and implemented with resolve. A true indicator of her success at Aberdeen was that she left after only 2 years with the job done. She then took on the even more challenging role of Chief Executive at the City of Edinburgh Council, and it was during this time that she embarked on her greatest challenge, the Edinburgh Trams. Of course, today the trams are up and running, exceeding all passenger forecasts and having established themselves as an essential part of the capital's transport system. Much of this is to the credit of Dame Sue, the mediation process she led, the rebuilding of fractured relationships, and her extraordinary people skills ultimately transformed this challenging project into a great achievement. While at the council, Dame Sue also led the creation of the Edinburgh Guarantee, a scheme developed in partnership with the private sector, colleges, and the third sector to provide a guaranteed opportunity for work for 16 to 19-year-olds. In her professional life, Dame Sue is a recognised expert in turnaround, strategy, delivery, and policy, and provides bespoke mediation and resolution support to public and private sector clients. Dame Sue has wide-ranging interests and has served on a number of external boards and has worked on several national and international initiatives. Her key non-executive roles include Chair of the Board of Young Scot, a national youth information and citizenship charity, Chair of the Royal Scottish National Orchestra, Vice Chair of the Scottish Council for Development and Industry, Trustee of the Merchant Company Schools, and Non-Executive Director of the Board of SSE, one of Scotland's leading FTSE 100 companies. And in the past week, Dame Sue has been appointed to the Electoral Commission with special responsibility for Scotland. Over her career, Dame Sue has displayed the highest standards in public life and successfully tackled the toughest challenges facing public service leaders. She has done so with great vision and great modesty, nurturing the organisations and the people she led, and building strong partnerships across society. And throughout, her strong commitment to her own personal development has meant she has been able to respond positively to the toughest challenges thrown at her, with huge support from her mother Anne and her husband John, who we are delighted are with us today to join in the celebrations. In 2010, Dame Sue was awarded Public Sector Leader of the Year, and also in that year, and again in 2011, she was awarded the HRH Prince Charles Business Ambassador Award. In 2014, she won the UK City Leader of the Year. And in the 2015 New Year's Honours List, she was made a Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire. In 2015 also, Dame Sue was named Strathclyde Alumna of the Year to celebrate her outstanding achievements since graduating from the university. She is now also a visiting professor with our School of Government and Public Policy. Dame Sue is a fabulous role model for our students, our alumni, our staff, and the wider community. We are delighted that her extensive knowledge of government and the public sector more generally, and experience of high-profile projects throughout the country will be shared with students in her role as a visiting professor here at Strathclyde. She has dedicated her life to improving city life, to creating work and education opportunities for young people, and we are enormously proud and grateful that Dame Sue is continuing to dedicate her valuable time to the university. Therefore, Vice Principal, in recognition of her outstanding contribution to local government and public service in Scotland, and her exceptional dedication to improving city life, I invite you to confer on Dame Sue Bruce the degree of Doctor of the University, honoris causa.
I confer upon you the degree Doctor of University, honoris causa. Many congratulations and welcome back to the university.
Vice Principal, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. O'Halloran, thank you very much for those extremely generous comments. It is an enormous privilege to receive this award today, and as you've heard from Dr. O'Halloran, the University of Strathclyde has been an important part of my life now for over 43 years, starting with what is now the School of Education. And as you also heard, I couldn't stay away and returned to the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, firstly to the School of Government and Public Policy, and then to the Law School. And I was reflecting on that overnight, wondering how many of the graduands today are somewhat bleary-eyed, having an interest in law, politics, and matters of public policy, perhaps following events in the USA overnight, as I'm sure some of us up here did. You will be celebrating today what I've been celebrating for a number of years, and that is the fabulous education I received here at the University of Strathclyde. And it is looking back on that education and marrying that with the support of those closest to me, including my mum Anne and my husband John, who are here today, that have helped me to do the things that I've done. You're never there as an individual, you're usually there as a team, but inevitably at tough times, people look to somebody who's leading the charge to give some leadership. And I have absolutely no doubt that in your careers, as you go forward from here today, you will face challenges, you'll have good times, you'll have tough times, and you will depend on those around you to carry you through. But I'm sure, like me, you will reflect back on what you've learned here at the university. You will perhaps come back, and I firmly believe that lifelong learning is what it says. There are opportunities throughout life to continue to learn, and I'm sure we'll do that, all of us. But as you, the graduates, come forward today to start your careers, I'm sure you will look forward to all of the things that I've looked forward to, and perhaps one of you will be standing here today. And I can just say that despite all of that experience outlined by Dr. O'Halloran, standing there, I was probably every bit as nervous as you sitting there, so don't worry, it will pass. The university has been forward-looking since the early days of John Anderson, who established it as a place of useful learning. And I note that in recent years, the motto has been changed to the place of useful learning. And I think my life and career has exemplified that. I've never stopped learning, and I'm fortunate that I've always had an opportunity to extend and continue my relationship with the university. And I hope that many of you will continue to do that as well. There's always change going on, and last year we saw the opening of the Technology and Information Centre, and only as recently as last week, the university was mentioned in the Herald Society Awards, exemplifying the university's commitment to leading, learning and influencing. In the years since I first entered higher education, I've often reflected upon my own early experiences. When I graduated at the age of 20, I entered the workplace in a recession, and there seemed to be some very daunting challenges ahead, but they can all be overcome, people working together, using their individual innovation and thoughtfulness, and I'm sure that you will all contribute to society, to your families, to wherever you work as you go forward. As I said, I've chosen to continue my education, and it has stood me in enormously good stead. And I have looked back on that when I've been dealing with difficult and apparently intractable issues such as the Edinburgh tram. I have to say I did miss a beat this morning when I heard on the news that a tram had overturned, but it was in Croydon and not in Edinburgh, so bad for Croydon, but I was glad it wasn't here. And the Edinburgh Guarantee has been a really major achievement as far as I've been concerned. As I said, when I graduated as a 20-year-old, I was facing unemployment for 3 months. And it was somebody in a position of authority, perhaps somebody like one of you in the jobs that you're going out to, who decided in public policy terms that investing in young people was a good thing to do. And I went into work and have never been out of work since. And I've carried that, I suppose, commitment to supporting young people, particularly in their career development. And I'm sure that many of you will do the same. Anyway, I will move on rapidly. I realise I'm the only final obstacle between you and your own degrees, and I'm sure that you're dying for me to get on with it so that you can get on with yours. So I would like to once again thank the university for this generous award, and I will do my best to live up to the honour of it. And hope in your own personal journeys, like mine, you will experience highs and lows, but great times will outweigh the less great times. Good luck with your careers and stay connected with the university. Thank you very much.
Vice Principal, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in English, Martin Irwin. In History, Gregory Spencer Davis. In Law, Juan Aslina Binti Ibrahim. In Politics, Eva Jakusova. In Psychology, Sarah Elizabeth Brewster. Gillian Mary Jessie Henry. Tracy Stewart. Martin Kenneth Toy. And for the degree of Master of Letters in Digital Journalism, Jamila Arwini Hassan. Angus Henry Ferguson Gibson. Lucy Jung. Mayo Yi Lai. David Thomas McPhee. Marta McVie. Roberto Perucci. And for the degree of Master of Science in Counselling, Kay Capaldi. Karen Christie. Terry Daly. Rhonda Marie Brown Gillespie. Emily Huen McCardle. And in health history, Emma Williamson. And in historical studies, Catherine Emily Evans. In investigative journalism, Carolyn Kirkhoff. Kirsten Ishbel Jaffrey Weir. And in mediation and conflict resolution, Sarah Clark. Dominique Matthias Heinz Matura. Yvonne Sarah Freeland Jennings Stewart. And in international politics and organisations, Alberto Valverde. And in research methods and psychology, Kelsey Jane Boyle. Lauren Margaret Gillis. Daniel Raymond Mackay. Robert Michael McQuaid. Scott Orr. Stephanie Pagini. And in clinical health psychology, Katrine Berlui. Lauren Blaine. Amy Gazelle Doucette. Xantippe Gunnery. Agnieszka Kravchek. Sarah Ann McHugh. Nicola Peddy. Sofia Poitraiska. Cara Richardson. Mary Claire Shepherd. Rachel Alice Snodgrass. And for the degree of Master of Laws in Construction Law, Stuart George Fryer. Cathal Heron. Neil Kelly. Martin Arthur Logan. Mail Lotlow Nathan. Ana Sofia Suarez de Almeida. And in Internet Law and Policy, Niall Harper. Madiha Kanwal. Lindsay Ann Miller. Tanya Rajan Patankar. And in human rights law, Tasawar Ashraf. Sylvia Wamboy Miburo. And in international economic law, Maya Pravolat. Constance Wolfram. And in international law and sustainable development, Regina Aklush. Ryan Scott Maker. Linda Mensah. Munawuza Juliana Binti Maud Jazin. Chuck Rebecca Ikich Uku Nagu. Pauline Robert. Nicola Todd Ovorich. And in mediation and conflict resolution, Andrew Agapiu. Mina Maria Harshbarger. And in professional legal practice, Catherine Irwin. In climate change law and policy, Tapiwa Clemens Madondo. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Speech and Language Pathology, Ursula Kardecki. Rachel Eden Terence. Catherine Rose Doyle. David Lacey. Gillian Stewart. And in sport and physical activity, Anton McGrotty. Lewis John Anderson. Andrew Neil Cannell. Alan Ford. Jack Dillon Reid. Rachel Hamill. Thomas Houston. And for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in English, Terence Earley. And in history, Caitlin Ella Patricia Borland. Nicola Hutchinson. And in history and French, Nicole Dawn. And in journalism and creative writing in English, Callum Henderson. And in law and politics, Nisha Rani Loy. And in politics, Sean Friel. And in politics and law, Calvin Leslie. And in psychology, Lee Joyce Smith. And in arts and social sciences, Aiza Khan. Kerry Parsons. In humanities and social sciences, Thomas Brendan Doran. Amy Louise Ford. Timberley Turner McBlain. And for the degree of Bachelor of Laws, Sarah Nisa Mohammed. Scott Robertson. Michael John Kelly. John McDougall. Sarah Jane McNichol. Jonathan Murray. Ejoma Nika Obele. Ewan Andrew Pennycook. Louisa Reid. Mandy Robertson. And in Scots and English law, Euphemia Jean Mackenzie. And in law clinical, Jennifer Catherine Keane. For the postgraduate diploma in counselling, Shona Jane Elizabeth Alexander McGarry. Donald Ian Ashburn. Nicola Ingram Begg. Lisa Gillian Berry. Benjamin Bookless. Jacqueline Boucher. Lauren Agnes Bulfreg. Nadia Brown. Marianne Catherine Kane. Annette Campbell. Arlene Jenna Clark. Tracy Ann Clark. Tracy Ann Clark. Michelle Coughlin. Tracy Catherine Currans. Maria Donaldson. Manisha Govinda. Victoria Claire Hagman. Joe Robin Heaton. Juanita Hunter. Julie Jameson. Kathleen Kennedy. Samuel Mark L'Oreal Harrison. Jennifer Lucas. Natalie Lukaski. Mary McBride. Lorna McKendry. Gwen McCarroll. Dawn McMahon. Kelly Forrest Mocklin. Shirley Mead. Ailsa Meldrum. Robert Ross Miller. Gillian MacArthur O'Donnell. Caroline O'Grady. Natalia Plamanova Petkova. Megan Riley. Elizabeth Riddle. Anne Marie Roddy. Claire Yvette Roger. Pauline Rogers. Wendy Scott. Georgina Mary Drummond-Smith. Elaine Catherine Tritchler. Alexander McEwen Walsh. And in digital journalism, Graham Robertson. And in professional legal practice, Fiona Elizabeth Bain. Andrew Peter Black. Jennifer Mary Caldwell. Miriam Christine Clark. Claire McGilvray Corriere. Christina Margaret Curry. Elizabeth Louise Darley. Laura Ann Dow. Edward Ferguson. Ashley Jane Fordyce. Rebecca Rose Fraser. Vicky Hanna. Sarah Inya. Henna Amina Jamil. Kirsty Isabel Ann McDermott. Catherine Frances Faith McGarrell. Lisa Ann McLennan. Brynella Nikisha Samantha Scott. Jonathan Bernard Sheridan. Hannah Louise Tuff. Laura Williams. Charlene Allison Wilson. Okay. And for the degree of Bachelor of Laws, Kieran Whelan. And for the degree of Master of Laws in Internet Law and Policy, Adora Okoli. And for the degree of Master of International Economic Law, Abdullah Khalid.
Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, and most of all, Strathclyde University's newest graduates, it is my pleasure to once again warmly welcome you to your graduation ceremony here in the Barony Hall. Quite rightly, all of our graduates have been centre stage today, and I would like to begin my address by congratulating all of you once again on your academic achievements. Your hard work has paid off, and this has now been recognised in front of your family, friends, and the staff who taught and supported you during your time here at the university. As mentioned earlier, graduation is one of the great moments in the university calendar. This is a proud day for you, for your family and friends, and for all of the staff of the university. And we celebrate your efforts and your achievements. Well done indeed. Now, in a short while, at the close of graduation, you may be asked to join the academic procession as this leaves the Barony Hall. This invitation actually symbolises the fact that you are now no longer students, but now full members of the academic community of Strathclyde, a community that numbers over 150,000 individuals. This is an important day for you all, and I hope that the memory of today is something that will stay with you wherever you go and whatever you choose to do in life. We will keep in touch with you through our alumni and communications teams, and I would ask that you also keep in touch with us. Let us know what you are up to, what you think about what we are doing at the university, and what you would like to do to help future generations of students. As Strathclyde graduates, you possess some of the most valuable assets anyone can have in today's world. A capacity to absorb knowledge, together with the ability to use this for the benefit of your community and the wider world. Nelson Mandela once said that education was the most powerful weapon that you can use to change the world. Do not underestimate this power or your responsibility to use it well. In Scotland, we are fortunate in having a higher education system which is internationally respected, and as a society, we are quite right to invest in it. Education broadens the mind and creates opportunities for individuals and for society. However, education itself does not confer rights. The opportunities that education gives each of us also carries with it a responsibility to use what we have learned wisely and for the good of others. A sense of duty and the desire to make a positive impact should come readily to graduates of this university. As Strathclyders, we only have to look to the achievements of those who have gone before us for our inspiration. To John Anderson, our founder, who established this university for the good of mankind. To the world's first oil man, James Paraffin Young. To the missionary and explorer, David Livingstone. To John Logie Baird, who did such pioneering work on the development of television. In the present day, we look to Dame Eilish Angiolini, a pioneer in Scottish justice, as the country's first female Solicitor General and later its first female Lord Advocate. And to Sir Tom Hunter, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in Scottish history, and a philanthropist who has used his wealth to the great benefit of others around the world. I am sure that you will all have been given lots of advice on how best to plan your life. Some of this advice you will accept, and some you will rightly ignore. But most of it you will have to learn for yourself. Robert Louis Stevenson put it well when he said, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant." Now, to reach this point in your lives today, each of you will have travelled a different journey. For some, the path may have been relatively smooth. For others, this may have been more challenging. However, I am certain of one thing, that none of you would be here without the active support of your family and friends. They have picked you up when you have been down, and they have encouraged you when you have needed it. And many will be here today, proudly watching as you cross this stage with broad smiles and the odd tear in their eye. Now, they are celebrating today not just because you're almost off the payroll, but because you carry with you their hopes, their wishes and confidence for a successful career. For the past half hour or so, their applause has rung in your ears as you each in turn cross the stage to receive your awards. I would now like to invite all of our graduates to show their appreciation for the support received from their family and friends. I touched earlier on some of the key figures who have helped to create and shape the University of Strathclyde. And you can tell a lot about the values of an organisation by looking at its roots. Strathclyde traces its lineage back to 1796, when Anderson brought it into being, the only Scottish university founded during the Age of Enlightenment and embodying the Enlightenment principles of reason, tolerance and equality. Anderson's belief in useful learning and his commitment to taking knowledge and using this for the greater good is the motivating force which gives Strathclyde University its momentum today. This can be seen in our pioneering law clinic, where our students provide support and representation to people who cannot afford legal advice. It can be seen in our Centre for Excellence for Looked After Children, which this year received new funding from Scottish Government to expand its vital child support and protection work and effect change for children and families. And it can be seen in our Hunter Centre for Entrepreneurship, which contributes directly to the development of the Scottish and the UK economies. It can also be seen in our Technology and Innovation Centre, which was opened by Her Majesty the Queen. The centre is already transforming the way in which academics collaborate with business, industry and the public sector to bring global competitive advantage to Scotland. Faculty highlights over the last year include the Strathclyde Law Clinic, which won the 2016 Pro Bono Award at the Scott & Company Legal Awards. One of our student members, Fergus Laurie, won the Best Individual Contribution by a law student at the recent 10th Lawworks and Attorney General Student Pro Bono Awards held at the House of Commons. Our mooting team of Mike Riley and Victoria Fitzpatrick McIntosh won the Silken Thomas Moot Court competition held at the National University of Ireland. One of our law students, criminal justice master's student, has won a prestigious Fulbright PhD scholarship to study in the USA. Catherine Law will be the first recipient of the Fulbright Postgraduate Award to study at the University of South Florida. Professor John Curtis from Government and Public Policy received the Political Studies Communicator Award from the Political Studies Association in recognition of his contribution to public debate. Researchers in the School of Government and Public Policy secured £2.5 million from the Horizon 2020 programme to study the impact of EU policies on people's attitudes to the European Union across Europe. In English, Dr. Churjit Mann is part of a multi-institutional team that has been awarded £1 million by the Arts and Humanities Research Council to research heritage and cultural memory. Dr. Steve Kelly in psychology is leading a major project with 10 companies in Glasgow to design and implement tests to measure unconscious biases in the workforces in an effort to help each company improve equality, diversity and inclusion. And children with speech-sound problems are being helped to overcome their condition through the Ultraphonics project involving Dr. Joanne Quelland of Psychological Sciences and Health, which uses new ultrasound technology and clinical treatment methods. Now, these represent a small sample of the many innovative projects being led by our world-class staff and students in the humanities, or in the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences. We are taking new knowledge and using this to address societal problems and challenges. And Strathclyde is being increasingly recognised as a place where things happen, and this is why our graduates are so highly prized by companies and organisations looking to recruit the best talent to drive their businesses forward. Scotland punches above its weight across the board, and I know that the future of Scotland will be built upon the quality of its graduates. However, regardless of their discipline, all of our students learn how to be innovative, enterprising, and creative, and they make a real difference when they go out into the workplace. So wherever your career takes you, always remember that as a Strathclyde graduate, useful learning carries with it responsibilities that go beyond academic scholarship. And finally, let me offer my sincerest congratulations to you all once again on your achievements, and I hope that you enjoy the remainder of what is a very special day. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that now concludes the formal part of this morning's proceedings, which I hoped you enjoyed and that you'll take away very many happy memories of today.